Hello and welcome to Western Motors, Ireland's leading Volkswagen dealership. Today we're going to be offering you a helpful guide through the 2026 model year Volkswagen T-Cross. We're going to show you what specs you can order, what colours you can have, what engine and gearbox combinations, and a general overview of the range. For 2026, we can order the T-Cross in 5 basic trim levels. We have Base, Life, Edition 75, Style and Range Topping or Line. We can opt for 2 engine choices and 2 gearbox choices in 2026. We get a 1 litre 95 brake horsepower TSI engine, and that's mated to a 5-speed manual only, or we can opt for a 1 litre TSI with 116 brake horsepower, and we can have that in 6-speed manual or 7-speed DSG automatic. Base level in T-Cross starts in the aptly named base level. However, we get a multifunction steering wheel with lane assist, radar cruise control, we get 16-inch alloy wheels on the outside, and we get touchscreen infotainment displays. The baseline car is also married to the 95 brake horsepower version of the 1 litre TSI and the 5-speed manual gearbox, and that lends to very predictable ownership costs, running costs and servicing costs for the future. Step up to life spec now, and our multifunction steering wheel is a leather-lined steering wheel. We also get Climatronic with air conditioning, and finally our infotainment is upgraded now for wireless streaming and web connectivity. We can also opt now for both engines in life spec and onwards, where we can have the 1 litre TSI with 95 brake horsepower and the manual 5-speed, or we can have the 116 brake horsepower version of the engine in either 6-speed manual or 7-speed automatic DSG. Edition 75 builds on life specs, already pretty impressive standard spec, and it includes 17-inch alloy wheels on the outside. We get a reversing camera now as standard, and we get keyless entry and keyless go. Style spec brings us on further with comfort, upgraded seats. On the outside we get IQ matrix LED headlamps, and now we also get the digital cockpit. Finally, range topping R-Line gets a whole host of R-Line specific styling cues on the outside. We also get 17-inch Coventry alloy wheels. We get the R-Line sport steering wheel with R-Line badging, and we get these beautiful R-Line bucket seats that are specific to the R-Line range. General layout and design of the T-Cross is to be very much commended too. Anything you come into contact with in the car from a tactile point of view just feels fabulous. It feels like it'll be there in 100 years. This car is a manual car that we're testing now at the minute, and it's just so precise as you put it through the gears. It's the same with the window switch gear and everything. There's a nice feeling behind them. You feel like you've really actioned the thing. And then standard spec is very high across a lot of the ranges that we didn't mention in the video here. Like this particular car has heated front seats, it has a wireless phone charging pad, but it's also got lots of useful USB-C ports in the front and the back. Tons of cubby holes and storage space. It's a very practical, usable car. The second thing then on the T-Cross is the physical space inside the car. It keeps the small dimensions on the outside of the likes of a Polo. It wouldn't be much bigger than that. However, the interior space is absolutely huge. It's really well laid out in terms of its ergonomics and everything, and it fits big lumps like me inside it without any great problem. And for scope, I'm 6'1", and I could certainly stand to lose a few pounds, so I take up a bit of space and I am perfectly comfortable in here. The third thing then about T-Cross is the vantage point out is SUV style. It's a nice high elevated vantage point, but a benefit of that is that we don't so much sit down into the car as we sit across sideways into the car, and vice versa with standing out of the car. We stand out of the car instead of having to stand up, and I know that's going to be a benefit to some people out there. That clever use of space continues here into the back too. As I've told you, I'm a big lump and I take up a bit of space, but I've got 3 to 4 inches of knee room in front of me as I sit here. My feet will go out under the seat in front of me to the point that it's not comfortable on my knee. So there's plenty of space in here. We have a hump in the centre of the floor, but it's not big enough to worry about. And because your feet can go under the seat, you're going to accommodate 3 adults across the middle of this car relatively easily. However, 2 or 3 children, should I say, will be easily accommodated in this car. We get 2 ISOFIX points on each side, and one of those big kids booster seats is absolutely going to fit in the middle here. Then, as I said earlier, we get USB-C ports and nice storage space and that kind of stuff in the back of it. It's a really well thought out and fantastically executed car. T-Cross comes in just one body style. However, we get a more than generous 385 litres of usable boot space. It's a nice flat load bay here. However, we can recess the floor down further for extra space. All models will come with tilting rear seats, and if we tilt the seats forward for extra room, we end up with 1,281 litres of usable boot space. So here we are out driving the T-Cross. And T-Cross in the Volkswagen small range would be the every car. It does all of the stuff really well. As we drive along here now, it's ironing out bumps and soaking them out absolutely perfectly without ever feeling wallowy. The other thing is we get to stay up nice and high and see out over the road again without that wallowy sensation. However, we put it into a corner and it clings on really well. The steering's really nicely weighted. It clings on perfectly. It's a really good execution in terms of the suspension and how it works and how it deals with potholes and that kind of stuff. The car feeling really secure on these tight, twisty B roads because we can see over the hedgerows around these blind corners because we're sitting up a little bit higher, and that really sharp handling makes it feel extremely planted in these situations. But it also has an advantage in high-speed national speed limit roads or on the motorway, because we get to see 3 or 4 cars down the road in front of us and we can see what's happening, and that takes a hell of a lot of the anxiety out of that sort of driving, particularly in bad weather. But that's it. We've come to the end of our guided tour through the Volkswagen T-Cross. Hopefully we showed you some nice stuff and some nice spec on the car and made your decision a little bit easier when you're choosing to configure your own one. What we'll do from here now is we will head back to Western Motors and we'll introduce you to one of the brand ambassadors there in Volkswagen. Alternatively, you can wait and use the information provided on screen to make your appointment today to come down and test drive one of these absolutely fabulous little cars.
My name is Stuart Hitchcock. I'm Volkswagen car sales executive here at Western Motors. Volkswagens are super cool. There's a wide variety of models for everyone. We also have a fantastic aftercare then as well. Customers choose Western Motors because it's a family-run business with specifically trained staff to understand and listen to the customer. We also have a top quality after-sales care to ensure customer loyalty.